Now to our conversation with John McCain. He has spent the past 2 days in Ohio and plans to return again before Tuesday. Very conscious that no Republican has ever won the White House without winning Ohio. I began my conversation with him this morning by asking about what happens after Election Day. Rather large bank. Senator, everybody's focused on November 4th.
Yeah, understandably.
I wonder how much thought and planning you've given to November 5th and what begins then.
Yeah, I've thought about it, and I've talked to my advisors about it, and we lay out a tentative kind of thing. But frankly, Charlie, Americans don't like for you to measure the drapes. They want you to win first. But clearly, I know what the challenges are, and I know how to meet them.
There are two scenarios in this, then. There's a win scenario, a lose scenario. So let's talk about both and start with winning.
Let's not talk much about the other one.
Okay, all right, we won't.
Yeah.
But if you win,
yeah,
the overwhelming odds are that you'll face a heavily Democratic Senate and House. Mm-hmm. So how does a President-elect McCain reach out to the Democrats and transition from the campaign phase to the governing phase?
What I've done for almost a quarter of a century. I reach across the aisle, I'll sit down with the Democrats, and we will resolve these challenges that face America. My whole record, working with Ted Kennedy or Russ Feingold or Joe Lieberman or Byron Dorgan or Carl Levin, I've worked across the aisle.
You said irresponsible to measure the drapes, but do you have in mind a spreadsheet of people that you would bring into a McCain administration?
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, a long list. And these are acquaintances and people that I've known for a quarter of a century. But there's also people who are wise people who may not come into the official position. Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger is a man I've admired and respect ever since the day I came out of prison camp in Vietnam. George Shultz, Secretary of Treasury, Secretary of State.
But are these new faces we would see in a McCain administration? You've talked about change.
Oh, Democrats as well as Republicans, and if I start going down a list of names, but there are respected people in America.
But it would be a nonpartisan cabinet?
Oh, sure.
Democrats?
Yeah,
more than
of
just
course.
a token?
No, a lot of Democrats. Obviously, I would want the advice of someone like Warren Buffett and Paul Volcker and others who are respected Democrats. Others that Americans can say, hey, this will give us some confidence and trust back.
Clean break, though. No holdovers from the Bush administration?
I think that Secretary Gates, as Secretary of Defense, has done a fantastic job. That is one of the toughest jobs in America. But I'd like for him to at least stay on for a while we arrange a whatever transition may be necessary.
You keep talking about your opponent as a redistributor of income. He has said he would only be taxing the top 5% of this country in terms of wealth. Aren't you overstating the case, calling him a redistributor?
It's his eloquence is very excellent. The fact is that 50% of small business income in America, you can check it, would be under his tax plan and would be taxed. 16 million jobs that are employed by small businesses that would be taxed by him.
But you said yourself, with a quote back from 2000 when you were running for president before, you said to a meeting of college students, we feel obviously that wealthy people can afford more. You went on to say, here's what I really believe, that when you reach a certain level of comfort, there's nothing wrong with paying somewhat more.
And that's
Isn't
what
that his
doing.
position?
And I would have added, and I will add, if the economy is in the tank, as it is today, to raise anyone's taxes is a terrible thing. And so, of course, we want Americans to all help this nation, but to raise taxes on anyone in a bad economy, as history shows us, is a repetition of the days of Herbert Hoover.
We talked about the winning scenario. Let's talk briefly about the losing scenario. Have you given any thought to what it would be like, what you might do after November 5th?
Sure. And all I know is that we fought the good fight. We have fought the good fight. I have served my country all my life, and this has been a humbling experience to be able to have the opportunity to serve. I'm confident we'll win next Tuesday. I think we're going to fool the pundits one more time.
What gives you optimism?
Our tracking polls show us within a point or two or three or four, and public polls do that also. We are coming back strong. I have been in enough campaigns. I see this kind of enthusiasm and this kind of turnout. I can sense it. I can feel it. more than my internal polls, which are very good.
And one other question about the losing scenario. If you lose, what's the future of your vice presidential choice?
Oh, look, I think Sarah Palin, no matter whether I had chosen her as my running mate or not, would be a national figure sooner or later. And I think she has inspired millions and millions of people, and the nation needs people like Sarah.
One other thing I asked your opponent. Finish the sentence for me. Mm-hmm. On November 5th, I'm so glad I won't have to anymore.
I think, frankly, probably ask for money. That's what I'm not very good at. I'm good at asking for votes, support, volunteers. I've just never been really good at asking for money. So I'll ask people to serve, but I won't have to say, hey, can you give me $2,800 or whatever the $300, whatever the limit is.
John McCain in a conversation this afternoon. By the way, our latest ABC News Washington